Yo, peace family, what's going down? This is your brother Sonny G with the FRCC, and we are back outside one more time at the St. John Missionary Baptist Church here to talk to the people about reparations, bring them to 6 points. Y'all know how we give it up. Let's go.
I'm here with the FRCC, that's the Florida Reparations Compliance Committee. Me and my cousin Mark, we go around Florida to educate, our people about reparations. It's an important topic. I just got the scripture out of the Bible. It says, "Fools mock at reparations, but among the upright there is favor." That's Proverbs 14:9. Yeah, so 6 points is lineage-based reparations. That's to those who can track their families back to 1865 and have their families classified as either mulatto, colored, Negro, black, and they also got it currently classified as black, with the past 10, 20 years. That way we make sure, the reparations, it's sealed tight. Nobody can have no wiggle room because you can't, No, if you mix, definitely, for sure, definitely, because we understand we that too. We indigenous to this land. The 2 point is a delineation. We are a specific ethnic group with a specific culture. We will retire the term BIPOC. We are not people of color, and we are not minorities. We define that because people use this language as the crowbar and the things that specifically are supposed to be for Black Americans or the American Negro or even African American, right? Because we see, different people, different ethnic groups of people, coming in and taking resources that are supposed to be designated for us, and we get left the crumbs, right? The number 3, and these are all these points are paying tribute to all of our ancestors because they specified all these, and I'm gonna break that down at the end. The 3rd one is immigration, right? To stop illegal immigration, increase deportation of unauthorized immigrants, and bring it into the sanctuary cities. We see what's going on across the country. We see this. We see what's going on in Chicago. We see what's going on in New York. They shut down the whole high school for people who came into our country illegally, and none of the kids was able to go to school, right? We can't do that with no other country as far as Black Americans. We can't just go anywhere without paperwork, documentation. We don't know your history. We don't know if you was a rapist, a serial killer, a murderer, nothing, right? So if we're going to do the immigration thing, it has to be done correctly, right? And the other one, the 4th one, is an anti-Black hate crime bill. And that's to have Black Americans classified with a protective status. That's important, right? We need an anti-Black hate crime bill. We just saw what happened to the brother Roger Forsyth a couple days, not even a week ago. Brother served his country, and the police knocked on the door. As soon as he came to the door with his firearm, which you have a right to have in this country legally, they shot him and killed him and asked him no questions. So this is a recurrent theme. This has been happening, for centuries. We've been dealing with this in this country. The 5th one is the protection of CPS for Black American children. We want the same protections for Black American children that Native American children have under federal laws and statutes. That's the 5th talking point. That means that when our kids go into the system, we got to make sure that our kids is coming back to us. We seeing that our kids is going to other people and they looking crazy. We seeing white actresses adopt Black American children. They put them in dresses and all type of stuff. We got to make sure that our kids is coming back to us, and we got main priority once they go into the foster care system, the adoption system, and stuff like that. The 6th point is gatekeeping our culture, and this is huge. To stop the exploitation and false narratives surrounding our culture, Black Americans will be the authority and maintain control over the language, the music, the arts, the institutions, the customs, and the achievements of our ethnic group, right? Because we got to make sure that we gatekeeping our culture as Black Americans. Everybody else gatekeep their culture. Jamaicans gatekeep their culture. Haitians gatekeep their culture. everybody want a piece of our pie, but when it's time for us to get into theirs, then it's an issue. So we got to make sure that we gatekeep on our culture. And all these 6 points are tied to all of our ancestors on the other part. Johnny Cochran, he was part of the group that formed the 2000 called the Reparations Assessment Group, which hoped to pursue reparations from local and national governments and public and private companies that benefited from the enslavement of black people. And shout out to the ancestor Johnny Cochran. He died mysteriously. That was still questionable to me. I was a kid, but we see how he was giving it up and what mission he was on. The second one, which nobody ever want to talk about, right, is Dr. Martin Luther King. Dr. Martin Luther King, in one of his last speeches, which is called the other speech, right, he said, our government is giving away millions of acres. Not only did they give the land, they built land grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they are the very people telling the black man that he needs to lift himself up by his bootstraps. Now we are coming to Washington, this campaign, to get our checks. See, we talk about Martin Luther King, we always get the warm, fuzzy Martin Luther King, white kids and black kids holding hands, running up the hill, hugging and kissing. They don't ever tell you that Martin Luther King, his last speech was talking about how he coming to the White House to get our reparations check. They don't never talk about that, right? And the last one is Callie House, which she really kicked off the reparations, conversation, was a leader of the National Ex-Slave Mutual Relief Bounty Pension Association, one of the first organizations to campaign for reparations for slavery in the United States. And
Hey, Brother Sonny, can I interrupt real quick?
Yeah.
So you just mentioned Callie. That's on the flyer, on the event flyer, the first page on your packet. To the right, that's Callie House, and Reverend Isaiah Dickerson on the left.
yeah, so the lineage-based reparations, that could be tied to all three of these ancestors plus more. The delineation, we understand we had a whole process, I want to think maybe a couple weeks ago with the OMB, which is the Office of Management and Budget. A lot of us, Cousin Mark, Sister Sierra, we all, gathered up with the grassroots and said, we want to have our own specific designated box as Black Americans. Nobody should be able to check this box because right now we got an influx of immigrants. And this is how, things get trickled down as far as like tangibles and resources and how they keep the number and things like that. We got to make sure that we have our own specific box. It needs to be a Caribbean box for people that's coming over here or from Africa. We got to have our own specific box. Nobody should be able to check our box. Just because you come over and immigrate over here don't mean you are officially a Black American. Black American is an ethnic group. It's an ethnicity. You can't immigrate into an ethnicity. You got to be a part of this by blood. Like our sister was just speaking, right? She was talking about her lineage. I done my lineage. On my ancestry, I do my lineage every day. It's very important, especially a lot of y'all that's in, the space right now. Y'all elders, y'all got a lot of game, y'all got a lot of gems, a lot of stories, right? And, I was able to work on my ancestry before my grandmother died in 2019. And I was able to go back to 1730 on one side. That's my mother's side coming out of the Franklin County, Virginia, out of the Maddox Plantation. My third great grandmother, she was enslaved for 38 years and was raped 5 times by the slave master. And Charles Maddox was one of his sons, and I'm a descendant of Charles Maddox, right? Mm-hmm. And then on my other side, I traced it back to 1690, and that's on my father's side. We're coming out of South Carolina, out of the Pinckney Plantation. Pinckney was one of the biggest governors in the state of South Carolina. He had one of the biggest plantations. So it's very important that, we trace our lineage, because we still are privileged and honored. We got our elders here. A lot of y'all look like my family when I'm talking to y'all. I'm getting goosebumps just talking to y'all. That's how lineage work. When you start tracing your lineage, I found out that's my cousin. A lot of us are really, really family. And when we really start, getting into it. So whether we get on familysearch.org or we go on ancestry.com, we could, really trace back paperwork. And I'm not disparaging nobody, but don't let nobody tell you, spit in the cup and do your lineage. That's not going to tell you where you migrated from. That's not going to tell you about your third and fourth great grandmother. That's not going to tell you who married who. You could actually, trace your lineage and look at paperwork documentation, right? So that's very important. So, this is really an important conversation as far as us having this, and it's important that we even come back to the Black church and had a conversation with the Black church, because the Black church has been a staple, you know, when it comes to the Black American liberations for the past, you know, I don't know, 200 years. When we're talking about the Deacons of Defense, we're talking about Dr. Martin Luther King, and et cetera. So, you know, it's important that they come aboard, you know, with the grassroots movement and really get tapped in us, because we pushing for reparations right now. We got Senator Blase Angolia down here in Florida, who tried to pass a bill, got shot down, to reject reparations for Black Americans, the descendants. Right, but we got Kathy Hochul in New York, who's trying to pass a bill for $180 million for Jewish descendants for the Holocaust. The Holocaust didn't even happen over here. It happened in a whole other country. You see what I'm saying? But in 2024, regardless whether you Democrat or you Republican, we weighing everything evil up on the board. And we asking y'all specifically, because I'm not married to no party. I'm married to my people, and I'm married to my lineage and my ancestors, and I'm here to fight for them. I got documents. I've seen the horrific atrocities that they went through in this country. I've seen the reclassifications like you was talking about. Indigenous. I know that my fourth great grandmother, Melinda Dunny, she was indigenous. This is written down. She talked about her being Indian. I've seen her get labeled as Negro Indian. And we've seen us get shuffled across the board. That's a part of the harms too. All these reclassifications, Negro, mulatto, Black, Afro-American, et cetera, et cetera. These is all part of our specific harms. And when you go through your lineage, you're going to see these specific harms, right? So, yeah, it's important, you know, that we really get tapped into this, because we're not moving off of this reparations conversation. It's reparations. We asking the Democrats, it's reparations. The Republicans, it's reparations. Y'all got money for the Ukrainians, for the Afghanians, to illegal immigrants who don't got no skin in the game in this country. Right? What happened to the, and it's, you know, and it's a debt owed. It's a debt that's owed. It's not a handout. It's a debt that's owed. And we're here to collect for our ancestors. You know, they may not be here, but I'm here to collect until ain't no more breath in my body. I'm here to collect. Give us what's owed. Give us what y'all promised. We ain't forgetting. We're not moving off of that. Right. They got. I think they in Chicago. We got people that we have conversations with all the time. They're not here with us, but in Chicago, illegal immigrants. They getting $4,200 on a prepaid card, free rent, all type of stuff. We got Black Americans homeless. Can't even get a job.
Exactly.
You know,
you got some here.
People who fought for this country. You know, Black Americans built this country brick by brick, by scratch. No other ethnic group helped out at all. We built this up. We built this up from the bottom. We are the real Americans, the true Americans.
We did a lot of things. We didn't get ran the railroad. We've done a lot of things. We didn't get Black and get recognized for.
Then on top of that, look at all this. I mean, look at the roads with us, and they burned down. We're not just talking about Black Wall Street. We got over 20,000 Black Wall Streets. They got burned down to the ground. I'm from Orlando. I drove down here from Orlando. We got Ocoee, Florida. Ocoee, Florida, with a thriving Black community, which was burnt down to the ground by racist white people. My brother Julius Perry, he was left hanging on a light post for 3 days because of racism, white supremacy. So, and that's not talking about Rosewood.
And they still exist.
That's not, yeah, exactly.
Some of them just in higher places, but some of them still exist.
The game ain't changed, we got another face. We're talking about Chicago 1919. We're talking about Wilmington, North Carolina. We're talking about Ocoee. We're talking about Rosewood. We're talking about Black Wall Street out there in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We're talking about over 50 prominent texts. They was left alone. They was able to build and thrive, and we was able to pass over generational, wealth like we supposed to really have. We ain't supposed to be working and starving and scratching and surviving. Not as Black American.
That's what they want to see. That good is nothing.
You know, so that's really what we about, family. I think we're gonna get into the flags. This right here. This one right here. Yeah, this one right here. This is the Black American heritage flag. So this is a flag for us. It was created and designed by Melvin Charles and Gleason T. Jackson in 1967. So this represents us. If you were part of the ethnic group, you could trace your lineage back. You know, when you've always been here, this is our flag. It was created in 1967 from Melvin Charles because he's seen a lot of people at that time. We didn't have, like a lot of people didn't have And he created this flag for us after going to a parade and seeing Italians wave their flag happy, Polish people, all type of people. So that flag just represents Black Americans. And then this flag is the official Juneteenth flag. Yeah, this is the official Juneteenth flag. This is created by our brother Ben Hayes. So this is, the flag that commemorates and honors, Juneteenth. Not no other flag. This is the official Juneteenth flag. So, yeah, definitely, man. It was make sure y'all stand on these 6 points, give them out to the people. It's important. These are the 6 points. This is the 6-point agenda for Black Americans for 2024. Don't let them, especially with this election. It's a big election going on. This is 2024. They finna send all type of people come to the church to hug, kiss babies, and laugh. And after that, they win. They gone. We don't see them no more. They don't got nothing for us. They got stuff for everybody else, and we seen it happen in real live time. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
About that process. So ultimately, they decided to give other groups their votes, right? But they did not give it to the Black community. They decided not to do that. Although they had multiple town halls, virtual town halls like on Zoom, they had town halls. 95, 96% of the people on that town hall was Black folks saying we want a box for ourselves. They ignored that, unfortunately. And part of why they ignored that is because we have some of our legacy organizations, like unfortunately like the Urban League and the NAACP, and I'm a member of the NAACP. I grew up with the Urban League. But unfortunately, they have taken a different position. And you may, in your packet, after this page, you may have another paper that has a letter from Mark Morial, who was the director of the Urban League. And this is the letter that he addressed to the OMB office, basically saying that we don't need one for the Black community. Even though I told you all the great things that having a box can provide you, which I said is called data equity, where every group can see how their population is doing. We can actually see our population and measure how many of us is here. We're what percentage of the state of Florida? What percentage of the country are we? What percentage of the county are we? What percentage of our kids are doing this or that? We want to be able to have those numbers, but we can't get them because everything is lumped together, right? Now, someone who's coming over from Haiti doesn't have the same historical experience in America that creates the result that we have. We're in the position that we're in now because of everything that we've been through as a community, because of slavery, because of Jim Crow, because after we were literally legally citizens, they continue to deny us our civil rights for generations.
It's a big movement, and we got to start treating it like, just to correlate and bring it back around, we got to start treating the government like how we treat each other. If somebody owe me $100 and they don't pay me back, you be mad at your family, you be mad at your auntie, you be mad at your cousin, your brother. Y'all don't talk, y'all be missing Thanksgivings, all because of money. Now the government or your ancestors' money, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, we got to make sure that we demanding that too. We can't we got to have the same energy and same smoke that we got for each other, same thing we got to have for the government, because our government they really, from redlining to Jim Crow to medical apartheid, they just did a test up in Orlando, found out that they was dumping illegal chemicals in the Black community. We've been for years, for 40 years. So it's a lot of stuff that's happened to us that's never happened to no other group in the history across the globe. So we got to make sure that we really stand on that, because the reparations fight is a righteous fight. So I just want to leave y'all with that last piece.
It has been cutting checks, multiple checks, to people who are not American citizens. One, sending money overseas, sending money to Ukraine, sending money to Israel, sending money in foreign aid to all these nations across the world, right? Based off money that they generated from our ancestors' labor. Not just that, from our taxes, right? That have been taken, right? Even when we couldn't benefit from what our taxes was paying for, including the schools, including public pools, public facilities that our tax dollars was paying into, that we were not able to get our fair share out of, right? So it's a lot of resources out there that we're not getting our piece of the pie from that we deserve, right? So I don't personally, my perspective is I'm not going to sit down and just let
all this money be passed around and not saying, hey, what about us, right? What about our money? So that's my perspective on that. And also the fact of the matter is, this is a movement that is really spreading out. And so there, like I said before, there are task forces and things in multiple states, multiple cities are developing their task forces where they're making these decisions about reparations and who it should go to, what it will be. And either we will be there at the table to give our perspective and say who it should be for and say what it should be. Or they're just going to make decisions about it. And it's just going to go out and to whomever, and then we won't have any decisions about it. We won't be able to benefit from it because they want to use it literally to make it for people of color and just give it out and say that it's reparations for slavery, but give it to people of color and all the other groups, and we don't get none of it, right? So it's happening. I'm telling you, it's happening. So much so that in Florida, Republicans are saying, "Oh, let's try to get ahead of this thing and ban it in the Constitution altogether." They didn't go for it, but that's what they're trying to do. So we want to get ahead of that. But it is twofold. It does require us to advocate to our government, but it also requires us to do that work, like she mentioned, within our own families, getting back together, getting on one accord, and making decisions about how do we manage our resources as a community? How do we manage? We found a home comes into the family. Somebody passed away, and maybe there's a home or there's some funds or things like that are coming into the family. How do we manage that as a family? So that when there is a large influx of wealth and resources, that we can manage it appropriately, right? So it's twofold. So I did want to respond to that. But also, again, I want to thank you all so much for coming to hear this information. It's not something that you just easily get off the street and you're talking to somebody. It's something you got to sit down and look at and listen to. So we appreciate you taking that time out of your day to come with us and just sit together and fellowship.
And one more thing, I'm sorry, y'all. Next time y'all talk to somebody outside of us, a white person, an Asian person, y'all talk to some politicians, ask them, how do y'all feel about reparations? If they say no, I'll say, how come? Did you say no when the Jewish, they still get reparations? They still get checks. The Native American, actually why? Yo, peace. What's going down, family? This is your brother Sonny G with the FRCC. We out here in Palmetto, Florida at the St. John Missionary Baptist Church. We are here with our brother Pastor Ship. How did you like the event that happened today?
I enjoyed the event. One of the things that came out was talking about our history. A lot of folks don't know their history. A lot of people don't know where they come from, so they don't know where they're going. And if we keep abreast of our history, if we keep abreast of what's going on in the news, it will help us day to day. And some folks want to have or live in a panacea and think that everything is just going to be perfect. However, everything's not perfect. We have to keep striving, keep moving. And from my perspective, if I keep God first, I'm going to have everything else lining up in order.
That's a fact. And Pastor Ship, how important is it because we know historically, the church, the black church has been a part of black liberation, the movement for a long time in this country. How important is it for the black church, to stay active and to stay, a part of, liberating our people?
It's very important. One of our deacons, Deacon Johnny Jackson, has been instrumental in going to county commission, going to city council, going to speak with politicians. We've had politicians in the church. We've had politicians a part of the church. And if we don't stay on top of what's going on, if you don't look around and see some of the things, people can fool you with anything. But once you are aware and made aware, you can't be fooled because you're aware of what's going on. So I think church is vitally important. Over the years, if you look at some of our leaders, they've come from the church. And some of the greatest things, some of the greatest movements have come out of the church. So if we stay involved and stay apart, we will see some differences and we will see some things change and learn to trust each other as we trust the Father above, and things will roll in our favor every time. I believe every time.
That's a fact. And can you name me or give me some of, if you could just give me a couple, maybe 3 or 4, some of your favorite people a part of the church that was a part of the liberation movement?
I believe that some people don't think that, or they have different views about Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was up there. He was out front. He was vocal. And later on, you can see some of the things that change. Some people have to realize that some things you can say at different points.
Yeah.
All things are lawful, but they're not all expedient. Some things you just don't say at certain times.
Right.
But once you dig in and you get ready for the fight, then you start moving toward those things. Malcolm X, a lot of people think that Malcolm was just a fly-by-night, but Malcolm had a different view as well, and he was moving forward to do some things. Whether your view is one way or the other, you have to admit that he was a mover and a shaker. And like I said, Dr. King, Malcolm X, and many others. I could mention Reverend Jesse Jackson was another one that some of the coalitions and some of the things that he did make a difference. Yeah. And then even Warnock now out of Atlanta, making a difference. That's what we have to do, keep making a difference.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And the last question I got for you, reparations. How important is it for us, as Black Americans, the descendants of chattel slavery, to receive reparations?
Well, I have a grandfather he was born in the 1800s. He was born right at the end of slavery, and he was a sharecropper. And for all the years he had land, but as much as he made, he never really got to a point to where he had a whole lot of money to give. But he did have some land, and he passed that on. So we have to be conscious and aware and keep going, just keep going. And like I say, once again, know your history, know where you came from, you know where you're going.
That's a fact. That's your brother Sonny G, FRCC pastorship out here in Palmetto, Florida. We outside with it.
Oh yeah, yeah. We talk about it. We've had some meetings, and we met with NAACP as well, and with some things over in a part of the community that was devastated by just the flood that came through. And a lot of the folks in the community that look like us, they didn't get the help that they should have gotten. And we got out and got vocal, started talking about it, started meeting. And all of a sudden, things changed, and some money started going their way. If you sit back and let things happen, that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to let things happen. But if you are proactive, you can make a difference. You can. So we encourage folks to get out and vote. We don't tell people who to vote for, but we tell them you need to go vote. Because when you look at the end of the day, when they look at who voted in a community, that's where your money's come from. It don't matter how, but if you did not vote, they go, they don't care. You're not making a difference, and they don't send monies. But if you keep getting out there and casting, you start seeing some monies come to the community. Just part of it. That's what we got to do. Got to do what we got to do.
Right. Yeah, you'll never see too much of the black church getting on board, man. And now it's waking up, and I love that too.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Got to do it.
Yeah,
got to do it.
We we gotta talk to Bishop Talbot Swan. I don't know if you know who that is. He's definitely on board with the whole reparations movement. He's been a big proponent of it. And down there in South Florida, Reverend Alfred Holt, he's wrote an article from the Miami Herald breaking down how reparations was mentioned all throughout. This is a beautiful piece, man. How reparations is mentioned all throughout the Bible, and how reparations, for Black Americans, it's a righteous fight. So he really ties and connects and pinpoints all those dots. For us, through the church, and it's a masterpiece, man. So I like, I appreciate, the church coming on board with the fight, because the church has been a big proponent, through our liberation, from Dr. Who was the guy who Martin Luther King learned a lot from? Was it Dr. Vernon Johns?
That's one of them.
Dr. Something. I think that's his name. The deacons of the fence. It's a lot. So, I like that the church is, understanding, coming on board with this, because we in I call it a political awakening, where we understanding politics now, and how important. That's like you said, we got to be in those rooms.
You got to be. You got to be. Dr. Carl Johnson in Dade County, he is another mover and a shaker.
What's going down, family? This is your brother Sonny G with the FRCC. We out here at St. John Ministry Baptist Church. I got my brother Johnny Jackson. the great elder, and I got my sister Willie Mae. Brother Johnny, how did you like the event?
Very good. One thing I needed to say, don't let them take those history books out to school.
Yeah.
That's where we get it. That's where we get our education from.
Right.
From those history books and from the Bible. Get it from the Bible and from there. If we get it taken out by not voting, we're in problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Johnny. Thank you, Brother Johnny. And what about you, Elder May? Elder.
I had my voice worked on.
Oh, your throat?
Shot. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was wonderful. It was wonderful.
Oh, it was wonderful?
Presentation.
Okay.
Wonderful presentation.
Definitely. I appreciate you, Sister Elder.
That's her daughter right there. It says, Mom, you know I'm the daughter. Huh? Because she already told me.
Yo, peace, what's going down? It's your brother Sonny G with the FRCC. You out here with my sister Stephanie at St. John Ministry Baptist Church. Sister Stephanie, how did you like the event?
It was awesome. It was awesome. You guys did a great job. It's something that we all need to know. We just don't know how to get started. We need to stop being all about ourselves and us, our own. We need to be about us as a people so we can get farther. That's the only way we're going to make it.
That's a fact. How did you like the reparations information?
That was awesome. I was thinking about the genealogy as well. My aunt told me and my sister that we are part Indian and part Chinese. And I'm like, you can imagine the jokes my sister and I made about that. But it's very interesting. I want to look into it. Just got to get Daddy on board. But thank you guys again. I'm really glad we came out.
Definitely. I'm glad y'all came out too, man. It's FRCC. We signing out.
How about the heritage flag? Dominique?
Yeah. Yo, peace. What's going down, family? This your brother Sonny G with the FRCC. We out here at St. John Missionary Baptist Church. I'm with my sister Sheila and Dominique. Sister Sheila, how did you like the event?
I enjoyed it. I learned a lot that I didn't know today. And especially about Juneteenth. I really didn't know anything about that. And I learned a lot. And about the reparation, which you were saying, and I would like to help try to do something because I am angry because I don't appreciate they paying the Indian. And my ancestors, they worked, they slaved, they shed blood for this country. And we just like we are nobody. And we do matter. And we have some brilliant people. Okay?
What about you, Dominique?
I enjoyed it as well. You want me to hold it? Okay. I attended this same event, I think, last year when you guys had it. And I enjoyed it then. I enjoyed it this time. Just like Sister Sheila, I'm also, very upset about it. They talk about how Black people have come such a long way, but it's like, have we, with everything that's happening in the country and how we're still treated unfairly, and it's just racism by another name. So it's very hard to see. And like she said, I'm also down to help with the culture. I'm down with the movement, whatever we need to do to, get some equality happening here. I'm with it.
Could I say something else? And our sisters and brothers shouldn't be veteran because, first of all, that wasn't our war. We shouldn't even been in that war. We shouldn't even be in it now. We have homeless, hungry people. I feed my neighborhood. I feed them guys on my street. I feed people. I don't know them. They probably could kill me or whatever, but they say they're hungry and I feed them, And we need to stick together. We do not stick together. We talk, but we don't walk the talk. And that's real. So in the future, I hope my sisters and brothers, we all come together in love and stick together, and we might get something done.
One thing that's going to make us stick together, Sheila, is that reparations fight. That's one thing we got in common, our lineage, our ancestral lineage, right? I'll trace my lineage. We've been here for generations, right? That's one thing that's going to make us come together and stick together, this reparations fight, right? Because it's a righteous fight. And like you said, we see, I've never, in this administration especially, I've never seen them just give out money. They just giving out money to everybody now, right? And they got the money for us.
We ain't see no money. We ain't see who to get the money to.
Right.
People that not here, live here from here.
Right.
That's must be who they give the money to. They ain't getting America no money.
Right.
I don't know nobody got none. I'm just saying, who they giving money to?
Right.
Because we shouldn't have these homeless and hungry people we hear.
Right.
They talking about crime. A lot of our kids got to steal to eat. They don't understand that? They talking about the guys on the corner. A lot of them got to be on the corner to survive until they can do better, you know? I don't condone the corner. Don't misunderstand me. I don't condone the corner. But I understand. I understand.
Fact. That's a fact. Hey, man, it's powerful, man. Signing out. It's a Sonny G, my sister Sheila, Dominique. We out here.
Thank you all.
See y'all
Keep on doing the work.
Yes, sir. Yo, peace, family. What's going down? This is your brother Sonny G with the FRCC. We out here at the St. John Missionary Baptist Church. I got my sister Sandra Bivens Carty. Sandra Bivens Carty, how did you like the event?
Oh, I loved it. It was so informative. I learned a lot. I think I'm going to rethink how I want to continue with my family history and genealogy. More than anything, I really want to create a petition for people to sign to get the history of the enslaved people in Gamble's plantation recognized. So that's my goal. I promised my mom I would do that and promised my family. So I think the enslaved people that built that plantation need to be acknowledged, and the state park who owns that plantation needs to do something about it.
That's a fact. Y'all should. I mean, it should be. Y'all should be owned. That should be something that's owned. I know you was talking about it, and the whole time I was hearing you talk about it, I was like, that should be something that should be owned. And then you was really breaking down like a lot of the lineage and stuff like that. How important is it for us as Black Americans to trace and understand and do our lineage?
It's very important, because if you don't write your history, somebody else will. And you can't complain about what somebody else wrote because you're not writing it. Right. So I have noticed that in the history books, it's somebody else's impression of what happened in my family, and it's wrong. And so me personally, I challenge that person and say, no. That person was there on site, and this is what that person did. And so I take ownership to my own history, and I'm not dependent on you to write my family's history. I think all families need to do that.
And since doing your lineage, how has that changed your outlook on history and your perspective of things?
Well, history is written from a person's perspective. And so my perspective is my family was great. They weren't subservient. So you can't plant in my mind that I'm a second-class citizen, because I'm a first-class citizen. Right. So words can be used to manipulate people's thoughts. Mm-hmm. But in my family, my words create my thoughts, not your words. Mm. I think every Black person needs to understand who they are and operate from within who they feel they are, not from what somebody else says they are. It's all about the mind. And in America, the mind is used to control the actions of the people. So you have to be very careful.
Right. Do you go to this church?
I'm actually from Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, you from Atlanta? Okay. You telling people around you, right, in Atlanta, to trace your, how important are you telling them to trace your lineage?
I was born in Bradenton, Manatee County, moved to Atlanta. So I live in Atlanta and Bradenton. Mm-hmm. And so actually, I just joined the Atlanta Historical Society. And there, they talk about, right now, there's a Hank Aaron exhibit at the Atlanta Historical Society. And, that's the home of Martin Luther King. Yeah. So you've got a lot of history there and a lot of people to promote the history. So
that's definitely, hey, man. I'm out here, my sister. We out here at the FRCC, St. John Missionary Baptist Church. Yo, peace, family. What's going down? This is your brother Sonny G with the FRCC. We out here in Palmetto, Florida at the St. John's Missionary Baptist Church. I got my sister Jomita Roberts in the building. Sister Jomita, how did you like the event?
It was very nice. It was enlightening, because, not a lot of people know about the events that happens here in Manatee County. and Kiara Cosby was, I guess she's the head person of it. So she invited quite a few people out to partake in this event.
Definitely, definitely. And what was one of your favorite things, or what was some of the things you learned at the event?
One of the things that I learned was that about how we came, this is our Juneteenth. Yeah. This is what we're celebrating right now. So that was very enlightening.
That's most definitely, most definitely. And how do you feel about reparations for Black Americans? How important is it for us to, get our debt that's owed to us?
Oh, very important. We've been held down for so long until now, we are trying to arrive. We have not achieved that yet, but we're trying to get there.
Most definitely, most definitely. Hey, it's your brother Sonny G with the FRCC. We outside. Yo, peace family, what's going down? This is your brother Sonny G with the FRCC. We out here in Palmetto, Florida at the St. John's Missionary Baptist Church. We got my sister Terry Johnson in the building. Sister Terry Johnson, how did you like the event?
I was really impressed, and there were a lot of things I did not know, and I was just sitting in silence because I was just stunned on some of the information that was given. And then when another lady spoke, I just wanted to share some information. She was talking about as we as Blacks, how we don't come together, and we should. So that was very enlightening, but I was so impressed, and I was impressed with you too.
Oh, thank you.
Because there were so many things I didn't know, and sometimes when you want to learn, you just keep silent. So that's what I did. That's what I did. So I wanted to tell you that I really enjoyed, and then I enjoyed the flags also because I didn't know that. So I was enlightened. So I just want to say, by sitting there and being silent, I enjoyed it. And that's why I wanted to tell you that I was really impressed. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Terry.
you.
Thank you, Ms. Terry. Ms.
St.
Terry,
John.
and I got one more question for you.
Yes.
How important is it for us as Black Americans to get reparations, a debt that is owed to us, right? How important is it for us to, get that debt that's owed to us as far as Black Americans?
Coming together. I think to get that debt paid, coming together, learning, listening, and follow, good leadership. Yeah. And that's the way to learn. That's why I sit today and I listen, because I'm older than you, but just sitting there and listening, and I learn and I absorb. So I'm gonna go home and think about some things. So that's why I say I'm good. But I think if we come together as a people, we can do it. But we need a good leader. So that's where I am with that.
Hey, man, it's your brother Sonny G with the FRCC. I got my sister Terry Johnson in the building.
You.
We outside with it. Yo, peace family, what's going down? This is your brother Sonny G with the FRCC. We out here at the St. John Missionary Baptist Church for my sister Kiara. Sister Kiara put on the event. It was a phenomenal event. Sister Kiara, how did you like the event?
I thought it was a good turnout. For me, we get two of our people in the room. To me, that's a success. I feel good about it.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And how do you feel like people will take away and receive the message that we brought to them about reparations, delineation, and the OMB and stuff like that?
Absolutely. We know it's a lot of information to take at one time, so we're just glad to be able to give a space for our people to get some information, to take it home. They got paper to take home with them, read over it, talk about it at home with the family, and just make sure that the word gets out. So we're very excited to just be able to provide that space for the community.
Most definitely, most definitely. And how important is it for us to go outside and activate our people about reparations? We see that a lot of our people are just now, coming on board to the reparations fight and stuff like that. How important is it for us to go outside, actually activate and give the reparations information to our people?
It's vitally important. Like I said before, we're under conditions of genocide in this country, as we have been for hundreds of years. And so it's very important for us to help to inform our community, to get them activated so that they know what's really at stake for us, and that to know that there's people out here who are really about it and really trying to move in that direction to get on board with.
That's a fact. Hey, it's your brother Sonny G, FRCC, my sister Kiara. We outside with it.